I got. Thanks for the shine. Seriously. Okay, so check this out, right? We're just gonna hang out. We're gonna have look at what we have. So we've got the milk and honey. So we got the milk and honey. We're just gonna hang out. We're gonna have a confession because this is what we do, right? So this is just what this is kind of fun. Okay, so I've been up since like 3:40. What time? So I woke up around 3 something, right? Maybe even earlier than that, right? Maybe even around 2, right? But then I started to write, and I started to write at like 3:48 is when I started to text myself. See, check this out. I'm gonna show you, right? Look at that. Boom, you see that time right there? It says 3:48, right? So here goes the fun bit right here. The new moon started allegedly, on October 25th at 3:48 a.m. right? So I guess that would be like 24 hours. Right, so 24 hours, so whatever. The new moon was yesterday, so this is like a new measurement for me, because we got a lot of closure, right? So we've just been having a good time and having fun, right? We got everything is on lock right now. We got the flow, we got the show. We know how we're supposed to communicate with the people now, especially with God's people now. So that's easy. And then now we have all the ways that we can, have our confessions, and we can talk, and then we can just like blah, and we could just like unload with our words, man. And this just puts us at peace. We just get to be at peace now because we get to talk to God. We get to perform for God. We get to perform for Christ. We get to perform for Holy Ghost. Right, we're set, man. We got our squad, right? So that's just what's up now, man. That's what's up, right? So now I'm on the phase, or on the stages now of where, we're going to start doing things from the bottom, right? When I say from the bottom, that means we're going to start fundraising, right? Because fund means bottom, right? So now we're going to start going out there, and then we're just going to march. We're going to march forward. And we're going to instruct, right? We're going to instruct because we're going to keep instructing the public servants, right? Because they don't know the law, right? They don't know the hierarchy. They don't know that God created the world. They didn't know that, man, woman, child is created in the image of God, right? They didn't know that, we the people created the constitutions that allow all of our governments to function in, right? They thought that they were our leaders, right? So now we're going to tell them what's up, man, because like we were watching the debates, right? And then as we were watching the debates, we're watching the politicians go blah, 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 like out here in California, right? You got the man named Gavin Newsom, and he's talking about blah, blah, blah. I did this, blah, blah, blah. We're setting up all these plans and blah, blah, blah. See, they talk like this, right? They do this. They do this because I don't know why. I really don't know why. I think they went to the same type of school, because you see all the political people talk like this. When they try to get their points across, they go like this. Right? It just looks silly to me, but I know, because I remember back when I was this was in my 20s or whatnot, I was reading about the kalas, right? These are the skills, so the kalas is one of the things is that you should be able to speak with your hands, right? But I think it's mainly like pointing at stuff, or bringing stuff in. It's like you should use them in an expressive way, so that way, like, you can form things. Like, that's why I talk with my hands, right? But then when I see them go like this, it's just like, what is that, man? I mean, honestly, I just wish I could be the fly on the wall that just sees where do they get their training from, like who shows them what's up, right? But anyways, let me get back to my bit, right? Because so now we're focusing on the children. We're going to protect the children because the children are being harmed. Why do we say that? Because we're finding out that a lot of the kids that end up in traffic or end up being human trafficked start off in a federal system, right? They all start off in some type of federal system. That's not cool. Foster care, right? Why is it that, children, that are supposed to be taken care of end up in human trafficking, but the majority of them are coming from foster care. They all have something to do with some type of government entity, right? So we're now looking at that in a different light, in a different lens, and then now we wish to protect the children, which is what we always wish to do. And this is why we're going to instruct our public servants, and then we're going to show the children how to do what we do, so then that way when they grow old or when they hit 18, right, they're able to now go and instruct all the public servants all over the realm, right? So that's what's up now, man. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so easy because we got this model from the Navy. It's just like, we're going to show the children trade skills, right? And then from those trade skills, they're going to go be able to set up shops, homes, essentially homes. They will be able to set up homes in communities. And then from those homes, they will be able to serve the community, right? Because it seems like every community needs people who understand law, right? Because everybody's trying to do something within that realm, right? Every community needs someone who understands the body, which means they need to know how to be healthy. So then that way they don't end up in the doctor's office, right? So that's why we created a health private membership, or a health membership associate, private health association. I think that's what we call it, but it's just another thing where, we can sit down with each other and we can just consult each other, and we will show the children who will become adults, which we call men and women, how to operate those things, which means that they will be able to earn their living no matter what, right? So that's a good skill. Thank you, God. Thank you for that skill, man. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you bringing the people into my life that showed me these skills, so then that way now I can transfer these skills off to the next generation, so then that way they will be okay. They won't have to go to like the super expensive universities and be like, will you show me how to do something so I can go work for somebody else? It's like, nah, man, we're not trying to show you how to do that. We want you to work for God, right? That's it, and then we'll show you how, and then once you know how that you can work for God, because, you serve God, you serve others, you serve self, you're going to be free, man. You're going to be free. It's going to be so cool. And then we know free is love, right? So it's all about the love, man. And this is just how we're going to be showing the love. And then now we just have to go get the funds, right? Because now the people are going to be the ones that fund this, right? Because the people are the ones that have the children, and then the children are going to be the ones that have to get the knowledge, right? So once they can get the knowledge, and then once that knowledge is going to help them, right? It's going to help them become something, right? It's going to become something. And then that on top of that, they're going to help protect themselves as well as the other future children that are going to be coming up, because these homes, man, I mean, just imagine it's going to be like X-Men, right? It's going to be like X-Men without the superhero powers and stuff like that. I mean, but you're going to have super abilities, because the abilities that you're going to have are all going to come from the power of God, because God's going to show you what's up, right? Because you're going to read the word, right? And then once you read the word, then you're going to understand, oh, this is how the world's supposed to operate. And you're going to be like, okay, got it, good, right? Then you're going to know how to go out into the community, and then you're going to know how to serve the community. And then you're going to make everything good, man. It's just going to be so much fun, right? So we see, hold on, let me take a sip, sip time. Like, we got inspired with this bit right here, because we were watching a show, and then they were talking about orphanages, right? Like, this is like back in the early, like 1910s or something like that. And there was a bunch of orphanages that were going around, and then you saw what the children were doing in there, right? And then we don't like the term orphan, right? The reason why, here, I'll show you why, this is what it means. It's not a good word. We just don't like it because it doesn't mean cool things, right? But here, let me show you right here. Right, you see that? Boom, right? Look at that. Check that out right there. Okay, so boom, white balance, lock it down. Okay, so when you track down orphan, it goes to orpo, right? Bereft of father, right? Deprived. It literally means deprived or bereft. And we're just like, no way, man. The children don't need to be deprived because father is always there. You got God, you got Christ, you got Holy Ghost. You always got a squad. You always have a squad because that's how we were created. We were literally created with that. And then you're always going to be looked out for, right? But then when you have adults who don't know this, they don't have this knowledge, right? They don't have this knowledge, and then they don't pass this knowledge down onto the little ones, right? Because I had to go and I had to find this knowledge, right? I wasn't told these things, and then now that I got this knowledge, it is my duty and it is my obligation to transfer this knowledge now to the next generation, which means the children, man. And then that's what we're gonna fund for now and on, man. We're gonna protect the children. Done. Okay. So that's what we got. That's what we got with the closure with the new moon, man. Scary simple, right? We love that one. Okay, so check this out, man. So now I'm gonna go. And then this is what I've been doing since, texting, because I text myself. I text myself all the time. I mean, I guess the original text message started at 18:03 yesterday, which would have been still, during the new moon phase, on the 25th of October 2022. So we got that timestamp right now. But then check this out, right? I'm going to start reading these maxims off, and then we're just going to put these on the track. We're okay on time, right? Because we wish to remember these, because this is how we're going to have fun now with the words, man. Check this one out right here. This is Maxim 435. Read much, but not many books. Who says that? Poor Richard says. Right. So I got these from Poor Richard's Almanac, right? And then that's just a cool book because there's a bunch of words in there. And then when I see the term maxim, right, because I'm all about the law, right, because we got maxims in law. Maxim just means great word, or great, so great, right? So when you have something that's great, then that's at the top, right? So we're always looking at things that are great. And then we like that one, we like Maxim 435, read much but not many books, right? So you always got to read, because you always have to look, and then you always have to reason, and you always have to count, man. That's just what read means, man. So much fun. All right, hold on, I'm taking another sip. Milk and honey, so good. Yeah, we also were having fun too. I'm just gonna be all over the place a little bit, because the man Yi, or Yay, he spells it Y-E, but he pronounces it Yay. But when you see Y-E really means Yi, right? And then Yi means you, right? So we've been watching this dude just go around, and he's just been having very interesting conversations, right? So we're watching him grow, at least in the public, in the eyes of the public, we're watching the man Yay grow, right? And it's really cool to see, right? Because we watched him on the Tucker Carlson, right? Then we watched him on the what show was that? The Drink Kings, whatever. There was a drinking show, right? And then we watched him on that, and then we watched him on another public servant show, with the public media. So we watched him, and every time we've seen this man come on the screen, we're watching him develop his words, man. It's so cool, right? But hopefully he will be able to do what he wishes to do, right? Which most likely he will be, but we wish for him to build his cities, because if you can build his cities, then he's going to help a lot of people, right? I guess the only thing that we really, are having an interesting time watching is how he identifies, right? Because he says black people, or my tribe, or whatever, because people in this realm always go off of how you look, like the color of your skin, right? There's another woman who calls them melanated people, right? Whatever. We're just all of us were created in the image of God, man. Every last one of us. You know why I know that? Because it says it in the Bible. The Bible's my guidebook. Those are the rules. That's what I look at. right? And it says, man was created in the image of God, in the likeness of God, man. It doesn't have a hyphen. It doesn't say melanated, man. It doesn't say black people. It doesn't say white people. It just says man. Man means to think, right? So any man, any woman, any child, just remember, you guys are always created in the image of God, man. Once you got that, you're going to be free, man. It's just cool, right? So that's why we're liking this yay bit right now, because because he's just going around, doing a lot of interviews. And then he did another one with this one dude named Lex. That was a cool one, because he went on this show, and I guess this one is a younger man. I don't know if they're friends or whatnot, but you're watching, you're watching two times. You're watching the process of this man, try to understand why the contracts aren't written the way that they're supposed to be written, man. And then the reason being is because people lack knowledge. They don't know what an agreement is, man. They don't know what peace is, man. They don't know what love is, man. So when you don't know that, and then you have someone else who claims to say that they have the knowledge, and then they sit you down, and then they put a piece of paper in front of you, and then they write terms and conditions on it, and then because you can't understand the words that they write on there, they're always going to trick you, man. They're always going to trick you. So, that's why we associate with people, because we like to show them for the common good, That's what we do, man. It's all about the law. All right, so let's keep it going, man. All right, here we go. Here goes Maxim 485. The doors of wisdom are never shut, Poor Richard says. Remember that, man. The doors of wisdom are never shut. They're always open. All right, let's keep it going. Maxim 497. The honest man takes pains and then enjoys pleasures. The knave takes pleasures and then suffers pains, Poor Richard says. We like that one, man. So, that's why we're always going through the pain, man. We had to go through the pain during the whole coronavirus bit, because, we were like, yo, you don't control my body, right? And then we had to, God put us in a situation, to where we had to walk through that pain, and we didn't know what's up, but we were presented with a choice. It's either like, yo, you take this and you put this in your body and you put this on your face so you can still get that money so you can eat, and then we were like, nah, man, that's it. I'm not doing this, man, because, the law's the law, and then, my body, my choice, my body is God's property, right? And he gave me a duty and an obligation to administer the trust, right? And this is God's property. It's not my property. This is God's property. So when someone else tries to say, we're going to do something to God's property, I'm like, yo, you don't have that authority, man. So you better show me where you think you got that authority from. But if you step outside of your bounds, which we know because God's up top, man, woman, child, number 2 in command, everything else we control, right? So now we know that, and it doesn't matter, if there's like a universal church out there that thinks that they control everything. They don't, I mean, they might have little crews and stuff like that are out there, and then they're embedded, in all sorts of industries and stuff like that. But, just remember, man, it's all about the word. And when we can talk right now, we can put our tracks down, right? And then we can go out there and we can walk and we can show people how to be, right? And then if you just how to be, and the only way you have to do is love, right? Love God with all your mind, with all your heart, with all your soul. Boom, you're cool. Love your neighbor like you love yourself, or love your neighbor like you love God. And if you do that, you're going to be free, man. Everything, all laws track back to love. Remember that, man. Remember that. Okay, let's keep it going. I'm always about that, right? Here goes Maxim 502. The learned fool writes his nonsense in better language than the unlearned, but still 'tis nonsense, Poor Richard says. Okay, we like that one because that one makes us think about the political people, right? When the political people go on and say climate change, and then they're like, oh my God, the world's gonna end, and you're just like, what are you talking about, bro? No, it's not. And they sit up there and they do the handwork like, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, right? You're just like, man, you guys legit are fools. You're fools because you say a bunch of words, but your words mean nothing, because all you do is talk about is that you say we need to get more money so we can make plans, so we can try to figure out how we don't die, right? Which we're not going to die, because God wouldn't create a realm like that that's going to kill us, man. simple, right? Simple. So now when we hear the fools that are the political people who are supposed to be the servants, they're the trustees of we the people, and then we hear them going on there going blah blah blah, we're like, oh my God, we got to go teach you guys. We have to instruct you because you guys are causing too much harm because of all the nonsense you speak, man. That's why we like that maxim right there. 502, the learned fool writes his nonsense in better language, right? Because that's why they always say, the experts say, the experts say. It's like, no way, dude. No way, dude. I mean, I can see, I can think, I'm the man. I got a man, I got a woman, I got the children. That's what we are, right? And then we're called the people, and then the people are your bosses. You guys are not our leaders. Remember that no political people is the leader of the people. No corporate people or no corporate person is a leader of the people. No political person is a leader of the people. Remember that, right? We the people are the bosses of everything. That's what God said, man. Scary simple, right? And that's why we speak plainly. We don't use big fancy words. I mean, we can sometimes, but we don't really wish to do that because it's just not cool. It's not fun. We like to keep it, the syllables. We like to keep really few. We like small words because they hit and they hit hard, man. It's like a computer, right? It's like, ones and zeros is how we think about the word, right? So if you got a simple word and it's a simple word with the simple meaning and boom, you hit that word, right? And you understand what that word means because word means speak, right? And then when you hear when we're speaking, you're like, okay, we're giving you instructions. These are commands, right? You're going to be cool, man. It's like, yo, you're either doing something, you're either listening or you're doing something. That's all we want for our public servants from now on, man. It's like, we don't need you to tell us how to be because we know what we're supposed to do. We tell you what we wish, right? And then you make sure that you make what we wish, right? And then that's it, man. That's just why it's so much fun right now. All right, here we go. Let's keep it going. Maxim 509. The noblest question in the world is, what good may I do in it? Poor Richard says. We love that one. Right? That's what we're always doing, man. We're like, the good that we're doing now is that we're instructing. The good that we're doing now is that we're going to help the children. That's it. That's it. We work for God. We work for others. We work for self. The others that we're working for right now are the children, and the reason why we're doing this is because we saw a lot of caretakers of the children harm the children, and we're just like, wow, man, we don't want that to happen ever again, ever again. And then that's why, we're doing what we do right now, all through associations, man, all through associations. Scary simple, right? All right, let's keep it going. Maxim 516, the proud hate pride in others. Poor Richard says, right? I like that one, because people are always saying, oh, you're so proud. You got to stop that. You think you know this and you know that. You're so arrogant. And then I'm just like, no, I'm really not. I'm not pride. I don't have a pride. The pride's not really in me like what you think, right? It's just like, I know what I'm talking about because I have a calling, right? And then the calling comes from the book, right? And the calling comes from the Holy Bible, and the instructions are very plain. It's just simple in there, right? Christ says, don't take from the word, don't add to the word, right? And then now we know that there's people out there who work for entities that have been taking from the book, and then they've been adding to the book, and we're just like, oh, okay, we see the game now, man. It's like, like there's 10 commands in there, right? And those are the instructions that God gave us, right? Because he was like, he keeps giving us instructions. It's in the book, man. It's so simple. Just go read it, right? Well, that's what we're doing now, right? But then the instructions in the book and the Holy Bible are so simple. He gives you 10 commands, right? And then the people at the time, they couldn't even handle the 10, right? And then we start to see that there's an adversary who's taken away. They've taken words from the commandments, right? And then they was like, okay, well, we don't like those words in there, so we're going to pull that one out, right? And then we're just going to put it like this, and then we're going to teach the people that. And then the people don't read the Bible. we're watching that there's a lot of Christians out there, who, so-called Christians, who don't read the Bible. They don't look at the Bible. They just listen to what their pastor says or what their preacher says or whoever their authority figure is in their church says, right? Their elder, right? And it's like, no, God gave us the word. The word, it's built within us, man. It's on our hearts, right? And it's about love, right? And then if you know that none of the, all the commandments have to go back to love, right? That love sits up top, right? And then when you start reading the commands and then they're taking out words, you're just like, you're not following the words. You're not following the instructions in the book yourself, man. I don't listen to you, but I will watch you from now on, man. I will watch you. I will smile. We will hang out. We will chit chat and we will talk, but we don't walk the same path, man. And I know that now, man. I know that there's a universal out there. There's a universal body out there that is called the adversary. And then now we know you. Now we see you. Now we watch you. Now we're learning. Okay, let's keep it going. All right. So let's what's the next one? All right, here goes Maxim 541. The things which hurt instruct. Poor Richard says, we like that one because, like people say the words that I say, they hurt. They're like, why do you talk to me like this? I had some so-called friends from back in the day, they don't hang out with us anymore, because they say, I'm too aggressive. They say the words that I say are just too much fire that I'm dropping, right? But I just got that heat because that's the Holy Ghost, right? And then when I'm dropping it, it hurts some people because of what I'm like, yo, why are you doing that? You should do this. I'm giving you instructions. This is a guide, right? But it hurts because you got to do the work, right? I can't do the work for you. I'm just showing you, right? And then when I show you, and then if you do it, you're going to be cool, right? If you don't do it, you're not going to be cool, man. It's so easy, but then sometimes they hurt, right? Because like we're finding out that words people hear put the images in their head, and then it causes some type of psychological pain, man. And that's why the power of the word is just it's just strong. We know that, man. But the things which hurt instruct. All right, let's keep it going. Excuse me, Maxim 547. The wise man draws more advantage from his enemies than the fool from his friends. Poor Richard says. Right? We learn a lot from the adversary. We learn a lot. We learn how they trick people. We learn how they confuse people. We learn how they betray the trust. We just learn so much. We learn how they are not good administrators. They don't administer the trust. Therefore, they are in maladministration. So we know that there's a bunch of maladministrators out there, who are acting treasonous, right? And then who are always bringing war on the people, man, because they're always trying to confuse the people, man. We know that, but we learned how they do that because they do it in such a subtle ways because they do it by instructing the children, right? So they teach the children. And then they program the children, right? And then the children grow up to be adults. And then those children that are adults now are calling our servants their leaders, right? And then now we're like, oh my gosh, the whole world is upside down and we got to fix that, man. And we got to go back because we've learned it from them is that we got to teach the little children, okay? I love when Christ says that in the Bible. It's so fun. Hold on, let me take a sip. Thank you, God, for hanging out with us. We're just having fun because we had to get this down because new moon. All right, let's keep it going. Maxim 558. 3 good meals a day is bad living. Poor Richard says. We like that one too. That's why we fast, man. We just like to keep it simple. All right, here we go. Maxim 563. Time is an herb that cures all diseases. Poor Richard says, remember that, man. Time cures all diseases, man. And then if you combine that with the one above it, where it says 3 good meals a day is bad living, eat 1 meal a day, or eat no meals a day, right? Whatever. Play with your food, man. Like now that I'm getting words that says, I have never been hungry, but I have appetites, right? And in those appetites, I've conflated with being hungry. And now that I know that, I've been eating so much less food, right? But I've been getting a lot of sleep. I focus on the sleep now because that's when the spirit comes back, right? Remember that. Okay, let's keep it going. Maxim 571. 'tis easier to prevent bad habits than to break them. Poor Richard says. Remember that. That's such a good one. It's easier to prevent bad habits than to break them, right? So just, if you position yourself to where you don't have to deal with these bad habits, right? So just stop them. Okay, like if you're hanging out with people that make you feel a certain way, don't hang out with them, right? If you put yourself in scenarios to where, you're like, oh my God, I got to get that drink on, right? Don't put yourself in that scenario, and then you're going to be free, man. This is just what we've been doing our whole life, because like, what were the bad habits that we had? Like our bad habit was that we just knew that we can do things with people, right? And then we would just do it because that's just what we wish to do, right? And then now that we know that, because we just know that people are very influenced by the words that you say, right? And then now that we know that, we're just like, okay, you can't do that because you got to have free will, right? And then when you know that if you can use words that can position people mentally, that make them react or respond to the things that you say to them, then you can get them to do things for you, right? And then sometimes the things that you get them to do for you aren't in their best interest. It's not in their best interest. It could be in my best interest because I might get a feeling from it, right? But it's not in your best interest, so then we're not going to do it. We're not going to do that anymore, right? So now we no longer put ourselves in these situations to where we cause harm to people because, that was a bad habit that we had. Now we don't even deal with that anymore, man. That's so much fun. We like that one. Okay, Maxim 584. To lengthen thy life, lessen thy meals. Poor Richard says. You see a pattern right here? Right, don't eat so much. Done. All right, got it good. All right, here we go. Maxim 590, right? Tricks and treachery are the practice of fools that have not wit enough to be honest. Poor Richard says. We like that one, because that's a good one, because we know that, like we were tricked with the word, right? Because no one told us, what God was, no one told us what Holy Ghost was. No one told us what Christ was. Then I had to go on a mission. I remember this, man, because this is when I was in my teens and I was going to a church, and it was a Pentecostal church, and then all the people were, speaking in tongues and things like that, and then I remember saying, I was like, God, if this is real, I want to speak in tongues, show me, so God took me on a completely different journey, right? He showed me how to speak in tongues, but then the tongues that I speak in now are all about the word, right? So then, you have to be able to understand what it is that you're saying. I can't speak in a foreign tongue that I don't understand, so like when I was seeing the people go shahida, da da da, na na na, blah 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 blah, right? I was just like, well, I look good, because they would look like they were in ecstasy, and then I wanted that, but then that wasn't real, it wasn't real, it was real that it was going on, but that wasn't that wasn't the spirit, man. That was a different spirit. Now I know that, man. I know that now, so that one's a good one, and then we watch the other people that trick people are, sometimes the lawyers like to trick the people, and then they trick the people with the confusion of the words. It's like the same way what doctors do. They call something very simple complicated, right? Because they've given it a completely different word or a naming, like, and then they say, okay, well, now we'll call it this, and then we'll be the masters over those words, and then you will have to come to us if you want us to translate the meaning, right? We got that now, right? That's why we like to keep it scary simple, man. We don't want to trick you. We want to show you how the tricks do it, though. Scary simple, right? All right, let's keep it going. Maxim 597. Vice knows she's ugly, right? So puts on her mask, man. Poor Richard says. Thank you, poor Richard. Right? So that's a good one. Vice knows she's ugly, so that's why, whenever you look at the commercials, how are we doing on time? We're okay on time, right? Whenever you look at the commercials, you see, like they show the vices, like when people are drinking the liquor, or like just in entertainment, or just the Hollywood, or the music videos, you're watching people who are operating in vices, right? You know, they got the drink, you know, they got the clubs, they're doing the fornication, right? They're doing all these things. But that's ugly. It's ugly, right? Because that's not what God wants us to do, man. You know, so then when you see that, you see this is why they put on the beautiful face, man. You know, so when they get the face, they get the beautiful face and then they throw it on there, right? That's the mask, right? That's the person, you know, that covers it up. That's why they go out there and then they find the models and then they find the attractive people. And then you got the attractive people that are trying to sell you things, man. You know, that's why when you look at the sales reps, you know, they always get the attractive men and the attractive women, and then they go out there and then they try to sell that product. And then, you know, and then the people like the attractive man and the attractive woman because then they use their looks in order for them to get you to do stuff, right? You know, and that's just a trick, man. We know how that trick works, man. That's a cool one that we learned from the enemy, man. Scary simple, right? You know, all right, here goes another one. Maxim 598. Virtue and a trade are a child's best portion. Poor Richard says, that's why we're going to protect the children and we're going to show them the trade. And the trade that we're going to show them is how to read. And then they're going to learn how to read the law, you know, and then once they learn how to read the law, they're going to be masters, right? They're going to be masters because God says, we have dominion over everything, right? And we will teach the children how to have dominion over everything through the mastery of the words, man. Scary, simple service, right? I'm gonna take another sip. Yeah, we're okay on time. I keep looking at the time because I like to put these bits up real quick, man. But this is gonna be a good memory for us. Okay, here we go. Maxim 604. Wars bring scars. Remember that, Poor Richard says. Thank you. Right, you know, so like I know I got scars. Here goes one. I got that scar right there. You know, I got this scar right there on my head because when I was a little young pup, you know, there was a man, you know, who was with my biological mom, you know, and then they were like doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, right? You know, and then I was seeing things and then this man did this to me, right? I was a little pup and he hit me and then he cracked my head, allegedly, because that's what I was told, right? You know, so then he cracked my head, right? And then I had to get stitches, right? You know, I got another one right here where I got like a, my little sister threw a cat at me one time and then whoop, you know, the cat split my lip, you know, and then I remember when I was young too, you know, I was just going to war with life because I was confused with a lot of things, right? You know, and all mixed up, right? You know, so I'm just out there doing what I'm doing, right? And then I got scars now, right? And then these scars I remember, I even have scars inside my head, you know, meaning there's certain ways that I see things and I do things, you know, because of the war, you know, because of the wars that I've had with people, like, you know, like the latest one was the coronavirus bit where I was like, you do not control my body, right? You know, and then for now on, you know, that scar is that I'm no longer confused, right? I am no longer mixed up. I know who I am. I know what I am, you know, but I don't want anybody to do that to anyone else ever again, right? You know, ever again. And that's why we do what we do right now, right? Is because we see that people can get harmed, right, for the lack of knowledge, right, you know, and then they will do it and they will do it just because they think that that's what they're supposed to do, man. And we no longer want people to be like that. We want, because, you know, God gave us free will, right, you know, and then people tried to trick us into thinking that we had to do something in order for us to get some money so then we can put some food in our mouths and in our bellies and stuff like that, you know. So it was just like, all right, dude, you know, we're not going out. But there was whole people that just, you know, put their ethics to the side and they say, well, we will do these things in order for us to keep our job, right? You know, and we were just like, that was amazing, right? You know, that was a test, you know, that was a test. And I saw that, you know, that a lot of people will cause harm, you know, in order for them to get the money, man, you know, and then we don't want to do that. We don't want a world like that anymore. We just want people to be good. You know, that's it. We just want them to be good. Let me keep going, man. You know, because that coronavirus, you know, that time frame, the corona wars, right, you know, that scarred me. That scarred me a lot, you know. All right, here we go. Maxim 611. We may give advice, but we cannot give conduct. Okay, Poor Richard says, thank you. Right, that's true. You know, so like when we try to show people the word, right, we can show you the word, but it doesn't mean that you're going to do it. You're going to follow it. We see that a lot, man. Right. Excuse me. Like we show people, like it says it right here, you know, what you going to do? Right. And then we see a lot of fear, right? You know, and that's why we keep going back to the children. And then we want to help the children, right? Because we only want the children to fear God. That's it. We only want you to try, risk God. That's it, right? You know, fear nothing else. Fear no creations of man. You know, only fear God and you will be free, man. It's so simple. All right, let's keep it going. Maxim 617 or 617. What you would seem to be really. Poor Richard says. That's it, man. You know, you are what you think. We love that one. All right, Maxim 618. When a friend deals with a friend, let the bargain be clear and well penned, that they may continue friends to the end. Poor Richard says. That's why we write contracts now, man. Keep it simple. All right. Maxim 628. When the wine enters, out goes the truth. That's a fact, man. That's why everybody, when you hear them sip, you know, you start to hear that spirit take over, and then you hear things that you would not normally hear when they're sober. Sober means without drink. Okay. Maxim 630. Right. When you're good to others, you are best to yourself. Poor Richard says. Remember that, man. You know, so if you treat others well, then you're going to treat yourself well, right? You know, and if you treat yourself, you know, best or well or good, right, which you should, because, you know, this is God's property. And then, you know, if you want to treat God's property like how it's supposed to be, right, you know, then you're going to treat it the best that you can, man, which means that you shouldn't be thinking negative thoughts about yourself. You shouldn't think lowly about yourself, because God created us, man. God created us in the image of God, right? You know, and that's so beautiful. That's an honor. That's just an honor to me, man, because, you know, it's like, okay, you know, my Father, you know, my Father God, my Lord Christ, you know, and then Holy Ghost, my comforter, you know, they hooked us up, man. You know, they were like, yo, we're going to make a dope vessel for you to cruise around in, right? And then, but you got to show us a good time. But then in order for you to do that, you got to think right, man. You know, and that's what it's all about right now, man. You know, thank you, God. Seriously. Thank you. Okay. Maxim 631. When you speak to a man, look on his eyes. Remember that, right? When he speaks to thee, look on his mouth. Poor Richard says. We like that. That's why I think our eyes are always going up and down, you know, because we like to look at the mouth to see how the mouth moves when we see the words come out, right? But then we also look in the eyes when we try to see, because we're tracking, you know, we're tracking to see if you're checking us out and you're paying us attention, man. That's just knowledge. We like that one. Thank you, Poor Richard. Okay. Maxim 634. Where good laws are, much people flock thither. Right? Poor Richard says. I like that one. That's an old school word. thither. You know, thither. Yeah, whatever. They flock to it, right? You know, so where good laws are, much people flock. That's why we make associations now, man. And associates, you know, and then we try to look for the people, you know, and then we try to instruct, right? You know, because we're showing them the law, and the law really is good because it comes from the holy book, man. You know, God wrote the law, right? And the law is on our heart because it's all about love, you know, and love means to care. Love means desire, right? And it's so simple, you know, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor like you love God, love your neighbor like you love yourself. Boom. It's so simple, man. You know, we love this, man. You know, thank you, Jesus. You know, Jesus hooked us up with that bit right there. All right, here we go. Maxim 637. Where there is hunger, law is not regarded. And where law is not regarded, there will be hunger. Poor Richard says. That's simple. You know, an example of that will be, you know, just look at all the homelessness, right? You know, the reason why you have so much homelessness is because there's no law. You know, there's no law. You know, the law is not regarded because they're not following the law, right? So our public servants haven't been following the law. They've been following another entity, right? You know, and because of that, now we have poor schools, you know, we have homelessness, you know, we got a lot of problems, you know, but I mean, we're going to fix it because we got solutions, right? And then we got actionable steps that we can take, and we can go create associations with the people and for the people. And then by that, we'll be able to do things that would be magic for them in their realm, but in our realm, it's not. It's just simple. Okay, let's keep it going. All right, here we go. It's all about the law, man. And once you know what the law is, you know God's on top, right? You're going to be free, man. Scary simple. Okay, here we go. Maxim 651. Who is wise? He that learns from everyone, Poor Richard says, right? That's how we are, man. That's why we're always watching and we're always learning from people. Like we learn from the screen, you know, and then we learn by watching how people's actions are and then what their outcome is, right? And then we only want things to be good, right? That's it. We just want things to be good. We don't want things to be bad, right? And then, you know, when we see things are bad, that just means there's a lot of confusion. You know, it's all mixed up. We call that war, you know, and then when we see people betray the trust, you know, we call that treason, okay? And then when we see people who don't administer God's property properly, which means that you're not happy, you know, you're not safe, you don't feel free, you know, then there's something that's going on. And then we've learned, you know, from other people how to be wise, man. You know, now we know what's up, okay? And then we'll show you what's up. Scary simple, all right? Here we go. Maxim 670. You will be careful, if you are wise, how you touch men's religion or credit or eyes. Poor Richard says. That's a heavy one right there, right? Because, you know, like religion means bind, you know, something that binds you. You know, bind is like a contract. Here, I'll show you what religion means. Let me put it in here. Religion. Boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Oh. Here we go. Check that out right there. All right. Boom. Now we got that. Okay. See, re-lecture. Right. You know, I wonder where we got the bind from. Let me see. Let me lock this down again. Okay. All right. So where did we get the bind from? Religion, state of life bound by monastic vows. That's what it meant. But when you see it, two-word word, re-lecture. Re-lecture means to reread, you know, recount, re-reason. How is that white balance? All right. Yeah, here we go. All right. You know, so it's a cool word, but, you know, I guess when you're messing with the things that people read, you know, and then you're just watching how they read, right? And then, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, show me how you know what you know, you know, and then if you can show me how you know what you know, we're going to be cool, man. You know, but if you can't show me how you know what you know and you just go blah, 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 we're not cool. You know, and then I'm not going to really walk with you. I might talk with you, you know, but we're not going to walk with you because, you know, you're on a different path. You're on a wide path. We're on a narrow path, man. You know, that's just how we go, you know, so yeah, credit means heart, you know, heart, belief, right? You know, so you still see the same things, you know, so if you're messing with the things that people believe, right, you know, and then you're messing with the things what they read, right, you know, and in their eyes, right, you know, those are the things that they see, man. These are how you process all the information, man. You know, but then, you know, how you touch their heart or their religion, you know, their credit in their eyes, man. That's some knowledge right there. You know, thank you, Poor Richard. You know, so I mean, that's it. You know, we were just hanging out with Poor Richard's almanac, right? And then now we got these maxims, and then these maxims are fire because, you know, they give us talking points now, man. There's so many talking points because, you know, that's just what we're supposed to do. And we like to talk with people, you know, and we like to instruct, man, but we don't like to cause too much pain. Well, that's it. You know, I'm going to put this together. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to see how it flows, right? I'm going to see what's up, right? Because, you know, we got some work to do, man. All right. I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.